Benjamin Franklin, a founding father of the United States, a political powerhouse, and a diplomatic genius. But beneath the statesman's cloak lay the heart of a prolific inventor. His inventions were numerous, influential, and so significant, they imprinted his intriguing silhouette on the $100 bill. Yet, he never patented a single one, seeing them as gifts to mankind. The urinary catheter, the odometer, the bifocal eyeglasses, the lightning rod, these are just a few of his many gifts to us. But perhaps his most fascinating invention, the one that made the world sit up and take notice, was that you'll have to wait a bit to discover. Hey there, curiosity explorers. Ready for another dive into the unknown? I'm your guide, Caesar, and joining me on this journey is the ever-insightful Sonia.
Hi everyone. Excited to embark on another enlightening journey with you all.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Curiosity Wonderland to keep your curiosity well fed. We love hearing your thoughts and ideas, so make sure to leave a comment and share the love of learning with your friends. Let's keep exploring together. So, Benjamin Franklin, a true Renaissance man, wasn't just a politician and diplomat. He was also a prolific inventor. His ingenious creations were so significant that they etched his legacy on the $100 bill. Now, imagine running a print shop, reforming the postal system, kick-starting America's first lending library, and playing a crucial role in the American Revolution, and amidst all this, still finding the time to invent a plethora of new devices. Talk about multitasking. Franklin saw his inventions as gifts to society and chose not to patent a single one. His rationale? He believed in the free and generous sharing of ideas, a sentiment he expressed in his autobiography. And let me tell you, Franklin's inventions were the epitome of practicality. They were so simple and yet so effective that they must have left his contemporaries wondering why they hadn't come up with these ideas sooner. Now, what were these inventions, you ask? Well, they ranged from the urinary catheter to the lightning rod. But let's start with one that might seem less than glamorous, albeit highly beneficial to those suffering from bladder problems, the urinary catheter. Before Franklin's intervention, catheters were rigid metal tubes, causing considerable pain to the user. But Franklin, inspired by his brother's discomfort from kidney stones, came up with the idea of a flexible catheter. He ran to the local silversmith with his plans and created a catheter that would be much less painful and more compliant. Not the most glamorous, but nevertheless, a much appreciated invention. Now, let's take a look at another aspect of Benjamin Franklin's life. Did you know that he was something of an American celebrity in the mid-18th century?
Really? In what way?
Well, back then, Europe saw the colonies as a rugged frontier, and the world's renowned musicians, artists, and scientists were primarily based in European capitals. But Franklin, being the Renaissance man he was, easily slipped into their ranks.
So, he was like a superstar from the colonies?
Exactly. He was to 18th century North America what Björk is to modern Iceland. When he served as the United States' first ambassador in France, he became a celebrity. Parisians were so enamored by him that they bought all sorts of Franklin merch, snuff boxes, medallions, engravings, you name it.
That's quite fascinating. But was there more to his celebrity status?
Indeed, there was. Franklin also had a charitable cause. Before his death, he freed his 2 slaves and became an outspoken abolitionist.
Well, that's commendable. I can see why he was so admired. But moving on to his inventions, what else did he create?
Well, he was quite the swimmer. And to enhance his swimming experience, he invented swim fins.
Swim fins? That sounds interesting.
Absolutely. As an 11-year-old in Boston, he used a pair of oval planks with holes in the middle to increase his speed underwater. However, he soon discarded them as they caused wrist fatigue. Now, let's move on to another invention by Benjamin Franklin, the odometer.
The odometer? As in the device used to measure distance traveled?
Precisely. You see, the mail system in colonial America was quite disorganized. Letters between cities were carried by anyone available, with post offices essentially being sacks of mail in local taverns. To make sure a letter reached its destination, colonists would often send up to 5 copies in different directions.
And Franklin was supposed to fix this messy system?
Exactly. The British government selected Franklin to reorganize the colony's postal system. So, he started by touring major postal centers across America, looking for ways to standardize and streamline mail delivery.
So, where does the odometer come in?
Well, while touring, Franklin charted the distances between postal stations by attaching a geared device to his horse carriage's rear wheel. This device would click ahead 1 mile for every 400 revolutions made by the wheel.
That sounds super innovative. But was he the first to create an odometer?
Rudimentary mileage recorders date back to ancient Roman times. And after Franklin, inventors in Nova Scotia and the Midwest came up with similar devices. However, it was Franklin who put the odometer to the most practical use, making it an essential tool in restructuring the postal system.
And what about his contributions to political cartooning?
Ah, that's another fascinating chapter in Franklin's life. We'll delve into that next. Now, let's touch on another one of Franklin's remarkable contributions, the birth of American political cartooning.
Really? He was a cartoonist too?
Not exactly, but he made effective use of illustrations for political messaging. At the time, English-speaking settlers were constantly bumping against French territory. Franklin, owning the Pennsylvania Gazette, felt the need for a defensive union of the colonies.
And he expressed this through cartoons?
Indeed. He published a drawing titled Join or Die, which depicted a snake cut into 8 pieces, each representing a colony. The image was based on a common superstition that a decapitated snake would come back to life if its pieces were reassembled before sunset. This simple yet powerful image is considered America's first political cartoon.
That's quite innovative. But what about the glass harmonica?
Ah, yes. The glass harmonica is another one of Franklin's unique inventions. During a concert at Cambridge University, Franklin was inspired by Edmond de Laval's performance on wine glasses. De Laval had arranged wine glasses, filled with different quantities of water to tune them, and played them by rubbing their rims.
And this inspired him to create his own instrument?
Exactly. Franklin took this concept and developed the glass harmonica, which consisted of different-sized glass bowls arranged on a rotating shaft. With a foot pedal to rotate the bowls, Franklin was able to create chords and melodies by running wet fingers over the rotating bowls. The instrument was an instant hit and even inspired composers like Mozart and Beethoven. It was also used in therapy sessions by Franz Mesmer, a pioneer in hypnosis.
That's incredible. But why did its popularity die out?
Unfortunately, rumors spread that the ghostly sounds of the instrument could provoke insanity in listeners, which led to its downfall in the 19th century. Franklin's passion for invention did not stop with the glass harmonica. He also designed a reaching device, known as the long arm.
Was he not tall enough to reach things?
Interestingly, at 5 feet 11 inches, Franklin was quite tall for his time. But he was also an avid reader and had floor-to-ceiling bookshelves stacked with books at his homes. To retrieve a book from a high shelf without the need for a step ladder, Franklin invented the long arm.
So, it was a tool specifically for his books?
Yes, it was a piece of wood with 2 fingers attached at the end. By pulling on a cable, Franklin could bring the fingers together to grip a book off a high shelf. Different versions of this invention are still in use today, especially by those who need extra reaching power.
That's really ingenious. What about the Franklin stove? I've heard of that.
Ah, the Franklin stove. As the forests around Philadelphia thinned out, finding fuel for fireplaces became a major challenge. So, Franklin designed a more efficient way to heat homes. Fireplaces were inefficient, consuming fuel rapidly and releasing most of the heat up the chimney.
And the Franklin stove solved these issues?
Exactly. By enclosing the fire in a cast iron box positioned in the center of the room, Franklin's stove radiated heat from all 4 sides. Users could control the rate at which wood burned by adjusting the stove's airflow. And since the fire was safely contained, it reduced the risk of accidental fires. This design is still used in cabins and cottages worldwide today. Franklin was also known for his humorous approach to energy conservation. He once wrote a satirical letter to the Journal of France, suggesting moving the clocks backward to make better use of daylight hours.
Wait, did he come up with the idea for daylight saving time?
The letter was meant as a joke, but yes, many people do mistakenly credit Franklin with conceiving daylight saving time. Now, let's talk about bifocal eyeglasses.
I think I see where this is going. Franklin invented those too, didn't he?
Absolutely. As he aged, Franklin became both near and farsighted. This meant he needed one set of glasses for distance vision and another for reading. Frustrated with constantly swapping glasses, he simply cut two sets in half and joined them together in one frame.
So essentially, he just combined two existing things and made something new.
Exactly. With these new glasses, Franklin could see long distances by peering through the top lens and simply look through the bottom lens to read. While both types of glasses had existed for centuries, no one had thought to combine them until Franklin.
That's ingenious. Now, didn't he have something to do with lightning rods as well?
Yes, and this invention was incredibly important. In Franklin's time, lightning was a major threat to buildings, especially churches, which were often the tallest structures. A single storm could destroy buildings across entire regions. After years of experimental work with static electricity, Franklin invented the lightning rod. This simple device, a metal rod fixed to the top of a building and wired to the ground, could dissipate the electrical energy in a cloud, preventing damage from lightning strikes. Franklin's influence extended beyond his inventions. His work with electricity led him to coin many terms that we still use in modern electronics.
Really? Like what?
Terms such as battery, charge, positive and negative. These are fundamental to our understanding of electricity today.
That's incredible. So not only did he make these scientific contributions, but he also shaped the language around them.
Indeed. His work had a lasting impact on both the scientific and linguistic landscapes. His influence was felt not only in America but also across the Atlantic, where his invention of the lightning rod was first adopted in the French countryside.
What a remarkable man. I can see why he's remembered as one of the founding fathers of America.
Absolutely. He was truly a man of many talents, and his legacy continues to live on in our everyday language and technology. On top of all that, Franklin's influence went beyond the realm of science and language, extending into popular culture as well.
In what way?
Franklin was quite the celebrity in his time. His inventions and ideas, his work in politics, and his writing all contributed to his status as a public figure.
He seems like a man who was always busy.
Indeed. He was constantly coming up with new ideas and wasn't afraid to explore different fields. For instance, did you know that he also made significant contributions to the world of cartoons?
Cartoons, really?
Yes, Franklin is known to have created one of the earliest examples of political cartoons. His wit and humor were not only present in his writings but also in his visual work.
I had no idea. I'm beginning to see that Franklin was not just an inventor or scientist, he was a true Renaissance man, wasn't he?
You're absolutely right. He was a man of many talents and interests. His incredible range of skills and his relentless curiosity allowed him to make lasting contributions in a variety of fields. As we've discussed, Benjamin Franklin was a man of many talents, and he left an enduring legacy with his numerous inventions.
Right, you mentioned the odometer and glass armonica earlier. What were the long arm and bifocal eyeglasses?
Well, the long arm was a reaching device that Franklin invented to replace the use of ladders or stools when reaching for books on high shelves. It was a simple but effective tool that ensured safety and convenience.
And the bifocal eyeglasses?
Yes, another one of Franklin's practical innovations. He invented bifocal glasses to solve the problem of having to switch between two pairs of glasses for near and far viewing. The bifocal glasses combine both types of lenses, allowing for clear vision at both distances.
That's definitely an invention that continues to have a significant impact today.
Indeed. Besides his inventions, let's not forget that Benjamin Franklin was also one of the founding fathers of the United States and a key figure in drafting the Declaration of Independence.
Yes, his contributions certainly extended far beyond his inventions. His work as a statesman and diplomat was as significant as his scientific endeavors.
Absolutely. And his discovery of electricity was groundbreaking. In 1752, he conducted his famous experiment with a kite and a key during a thunderstorm, proving that lightning was, in fact, electricity. This led to his creation of the lightning rod, a protective device that is still used today to guard buildings against lightning strikes.
His impact cannot be understated. Benjamin Franklin was a true visionary, and his legacy continues to shape our world today.
In summary, Benjamin Franklin was not just one of the founding fathers of the United States but also a prolific inventor. Known for his wit and eagerness to share his ideas, Franklin's inventions range from the practical, like the urinary catheter and bifocal eyeglasses, to the innovative, like the odometer and lightning rod. He even dabbled in fine arts, creating the glass armonica, and made a lasting impact on popular culture with his political cartoons. And, despite being such a heavyweight in the worlds of science and politics, Franklin never lost his sense of fun. He's definitely a founding father who knew how to make a splash, literally, with his swim fins invention.
Absolutely. Benjamin Franklin's story is a reminder of the limitless possibilities of human curiosity and ingenuity. So, listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this dive into the life and work of Benjamin Franklin. If you found this episode enlightening, please blast that like button, drop us a comment, and share this episode with your friends. Who knows, you might inspire the next great inventor.
That's it for today's episode. We appreciate your time and your ears. And remember, curiosity, like Franklin's, can spark world-changing ideas.
Stay curious, listeners. Goodbye for now.
This fascinating delve into Benjamin Franklin's inventions was inspired by an article titled "What Did Benjamin Franklin Invent?" Much More Than Bifocals by John Fuller, published on October 20, 2023, on HowStuffWorks. You can find the full URL in the video description to learn more. Now, I'm signing off.